So, hello everyone. It's me again. so, yeah, this is the Into the Void stream. This is it. Don't Look 2 is finally coming in pre-beta. So, let's go. This is cool, let's be honest. For a new beginning, even for Apocalyptic Incorporated. So, I want to see the Canary build. Things are getting interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's see these. Woo! Music. The music. Sorry. Hey, look at me. It's Canary. Let's just see here. No one is in here. Typical. 3 minutes ago. Hey, I'm not that late. Let's see. Yes. Okay, let's see here. Woo! 2 minutes in. Yeah, same here. Hello. Come on. Not bad. Aw. To me. Are the flying things gonna turn into particles yet? Or about just love the new logo. I mean, well, the whole thing in general. Oh my! Hi, Gladly. Hi. Then don't look.
Hello, and welcome to the ICSCS pre-beta stream. It's really nice to see all of you here again, and this is the 4th stream about ICSCS that I had ever done. In the last ICSCS stream, I had showcased the brand new researcher's occupation, as well as several noteworthy things, such as the brand new events, utilities that could change the way on how you play the game, and also the new help system. Now, if you have watched the first pre-beta sneak peek, you can see that the game had gone a drastic change, like the architecture itself, as well as the layout. This update was planned back in June of 2023, and it's refreshing to see pre-beta finally complete, after months of consecutive work. To the point that I actually got a login streak of over 40 days, as well as a 38 hours playtime. During my college break, I was actually working on this game on a daily basis, from around 10 AM to 10 PM, with little to no breaks. But now, since the update is done for this showcase, it's high time that we get right into it. Over the past weeks, I had been deciding on an update name that works, and I'm proud to say that the pre-beta update will be known as the Management Update. Why? This update focuses on managing the facility infrastructure with the server farms, as well as doing several office tasks from time to time, that we will get into later in the stream. As you may have known from the Alpha Part 2 stream, I have stated that Sublevel 3 and Sublevel 4 will be the focus for pre-beta, and it also puts more emphasis on the employee, maintenance, and security occupations. I'm proud to talk about this update in detail as well. Anyways, without further ado, let's start off with the architecture. The architecture had undergone a massive rework in pre-beta, and it's a really tough job to do. Not only it was painful to wipe out everything except for the SPHR chamber, it was daunting to rebuild the entire architecture all over again. I had to reuse some of the areas, such as the labs and most of the furniture from Alpha Part 2, since it will be too pressuring for a solo dev. Not only that, this update also introduces the 2 sublevels that I had mentioned earlier. Now that it's finally done, as well as the architecture of ICSCS as a whole, let's get right into it. But before I do so, I'm going to show you the new intro for ICSCS. Take a look.
Let's see. Wait a minute, have we already seen this? Yeah, I already did. Yeah, we already seen this. But, yeah.
Although the UI still looks the same in the main menu, there are a few changes made to them. The more noticeable one is the About UI, where it shows you the server uptime, as well as the Roblox server you're in, which means you can take a look at the Roblox server location, just in case of any latency issues. However, that's not the only change that I had done. That's a new addition to the main menu, the Update News. This allows you to check out the new update, if there's any. Also, all of the Alpha Part 1 OSTs and the ones before that are either remakes or completely redone to fit my 2023 to 2024 style. And finally, here's something new that I want to show you. Let's go ahead and click play. Welcome to Internal Corporation Singularity Containment Site.
Circus. Sorry. Still feels like it.
A facility housing the well-known Stabilized Black Hole Reactor Part 2.
Orange. It's orange. No signal, huh?
In addition to that, this facility offers scrumptious meals, courtesy of the 2 internal cafes.
It's nighttime though.
For quite some time, this facility had been mostly visited thanks to its openness to visitors.
No, it hasn't. In the main game.
Or at least it was. Breaking news. There is a virus called COVID-19 ravaging the world, and all civilians are required to stay at home. Public places must be shut down to minimize the spread of COVID-19.
Yeah, 2022. Oh no.
The facility is forced to comply with the government's orders to shut down. With no one present to maintain the SPHR Mark II, it had to be shut down to prevent damage. Several maintenance workers were laid off due to the closure, while employees had to work from home, handling various tasks that the employer offers.
Dare to say.
After a year,
Oh,
restrictions have been lifted,
It's
but all civilians are still required to wear masks outside. Additionally, temperature scanners are now installed in every indoor building, including Internal Corporation Singularity Containment Site. As the grand reopening of ICSCS approaches, you find yourself in a tour group heading to the facility. As a potential staff member for Internal Corporation, you eagerly kept your eyes wide open as your tour group is approaching the facility.
Well, I do not. Because that story's about to change when I... couldn't tell? I will shoot it down with a rocket launcher, boy. Everyone, please go up outside the entrance.
As you can see, the first time introduction had been completely redone, and now plays off the situation back in 2020, since ICSCS takes place in 2021. If you wanted more information about this, you're free to refer to the pre-beta sneak peek where I elaborated on this decision. Anyways, during your first time playing, you have an option to go through a tour or not, but little do the tour guide and the tourist know you're about to be a staff of this facility after the tour. I'm going to go through the tour for the sake of this stream.
Okay. Thank you. Now, have you guys remembered the rules I was telling us on the way? Not really. Okie dokie. Not really. Hello. So you're a robot? Okay. Bye.
As you have saw earlier, Guidely had welcomed me, making sure they're talking to the right person that is going to work in the facility, which is you. Later, they're going to play a major role in ICSCS that you'll see later. Anyways, let's carry on with the tour. I won't be talking during the tour, but you can see what's going on as I go through the tour.
So topside, there's no camera restricted, so merch store and grab a bite at the cafe. Thankfully, you got some tickets, so which was fine. What? How about you just break in? Wait, why am I laughing at that? The merch store. Imagine going to such a bathrooms. There's more down there than taller stuff. Especially on the ground. Hi, Kylie. Just sub-level. You see. You can also learn history of calibration, cursive into archives, events healed from time to time, and then sometimes next there's Obseri. She can lack watch staff control. Worry the staff does not know since there's nothing person to be kept there. Of course. Just store the unit on the ground or buy merch. Sadly, I can't. It's sometimes restricted to staff. Hey! You should have chose that.
And that's the tour for the first time players. There are dialogue choices that you can make in the tour while talking to the tour guide or guide lead themselves. It's up to you to decide which dialogue that you wanted to go for, but note that you can only go through the tour once and never again.
Oh.
Anyways, now that I'm done with the tour, you can go ahead and collect your daily reward. Once you have done that, you can either switch to a staff occupation or remain as a visitor, but with limited privileges. You'll see what I mean soon. Anyways, let's explore the new top site.
Nice little addition. Why make it live when you can just make it a recording?
It has a similar layout, but with one new thing, the staff shortcut. This grants you access without having to go through the turnstile, but while it's longer than going through the turnstile route, logically, staff won't have to carry a visitor's pass just to access the turnstile. If you prefer, you can still take the turnstile route. Anyways, let's head on down to sub-level 1 now, since there's a lot more going on down there.
Why is it longer? Do the buttons close the— No, it doesn't. Still doesn't. Don't look too. I advise you just click button, door closes.
Welcome to the all-new Sub-Level 1. Sub-Level 1 had been redone and it's more straightforward. You have your lost and found area here now. And on the other side, there will be an employee's parking lot. And
Uh-oh. What? Audio died.
also the loading area. They have all been rebuilt from the ground up. Anyways, that's only a tiny portion of Sub-Level 1. Let's ride the internal transit to the rest of Sub-Level 1. Towards Station Emergency Bunker Station. Due to COVID-19
dumpster fire.
measures, we regret to inform you that
Alright,
the
good.
train capacity has been limited. I know, the screens are like that at the moment, but I'll show you how to fix that later in the stream. On the bright side, the internal transit still works. It now sports 2 coaches, and there's 2 tracks where there are 2 separate trains going in 2 different directions. Anyways, off we go to Station Beta.
That's cool. Come on, transit. Work. If you won't work, I will make you work by launching a rocket launcher at you. Yes, I cope with violence. Don't ask me, okay? I don't know either.
Anyways, while we are heading to Station Beta, I guess this is kind of a reintroduction to the facility, since nearly everything had been changed. Hopefully I can try to keep it short, and I will only go through sub-level 1, 2, 5, and 6 for this segment. Also, please do not go into a train that says not in service, because it will go back to its depot. Also, I forgot to mention that this is the second time the internal transits model has been reworked, and will probably be the final time I'm going to redo the internal transits model.
Also, that's what the not in service does. I thought it would just whoop.
Here we are, Station Beta. There's an area on the other side of Station Beta, which is the internal pavilion. This is where events will take place from time to time, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use this venue for the next stream. Anyways, there's also the backstage, and there's also the audio-visual controls. I'll get back to it at a later section though. Anyways, that's the auditorium for you. Now, let's head on to the atrium.
Another statue that I can detonate. Sorry. But I'll do it for the sake of the
This is the all-new atrium. This time, the atrium has been redone as well, and it now overlooks the SPHR Mark II chamber. Nothing much to say here. Let's go ahead and explore the rest of sub-level 1, and then we can move on to sub-level 2.
Nice.
This is the merch store. It has been cut down in size, but it offers a plethora of my own merch that you can buy. The reason why there's only merch relating to me is because while the game technically belongs to Internal Corporation, a branding that I created, and a group that doesn't exist, is actually a solo project that serves to be the final project of Internal Corporation. This is the internal archives. Back in Alpha Part 2, there were a lot of unnecessary space, but I had to condense a lot of things into a small area, while trying to bring over most of the things from the old internal archive. It also connects to the merch store as well.
That's neat.
This is the internal cafe. It has a brand new modern look, and if you're in sub-level 1 or below, this is the internal cafe to go, instead of the top site's internal cafe. That's basically all I have to say, so let's go to the other side of sub-level 1.
Okay, let's go. Why did I say that so? So how do you take sub-level 2 again? Oh yeah, the elevators.
And finally for sub-level 1, this is the observatory, where players can view from the control room and what they're doing in there. This still has the same function as the one in Alpha Part 2 though. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention is that in every sub-levels, there will be 3 elevator hallways instead of 2, which means that there's more elevators to traverse the sub-levels with compared to Alpha Part 2 and earlier. The facility is divided into 2 wings, the left wing and the right wing. Anyways, let's head to sub-level 2.
What is after P-Beta?
This is Sublevel 2. It's similar to Sublevel 1, but with different areas and a different color scheme. The laboratories still remain the same, since I previously planned to redo every single area except for the laboratories. I'm not going to go over the laboratories since they look the same from Alpha Part 2, as well as the living quarters. So let's head to the security room, since it's one of the areas that was redone.
You can actually basically go into security. Yeah, you have a shortcut that. Good luck.
This is the new security room. There are windows that overlook the cave the facility is based in, and the entire layout got changed while keeping the essentials of the security room back in the pre-revamp. Here we have the armory, where players can get their weapons. It also connects to the surveillance room as well, where players can use the computers, or basically look at the security cameras. And finally, this is the holding cells, where vandalizers go after they get detained. Hopefully the new layout is easier to traverse, and you can get to new rooms in the security room easily.
Please do not get distracted by the data saved. I want to though.
This is the reactor management area. It has been completely reworked, where it now sports 2 decks above. And yeah, the emergency controls isn't in the game yet, but besides that, it still has the same function from Alpha Part 2 and below, but it's slightly bigger. Anyways, that's all I have to say about the reactor management area, as well as Sublevel 2 as a whole. I'm going to skip Sublevel 3 and 4 for now, since it isn't really the right time to go through it.
Why? Why though? Tell me why. 1 minute. So, how are you doing, everyone? Good? Bad? Sorry if your day is bad, but we'll get to it. Why is it on Dorito?
This is Sublevel 5. It still has a similar layout from the past 2 sublevels, but there's also things that are redone. For example, the multi-floored areas that go from Sublevel 5 to Sublevel 6 and such. Nothing really changed from the pre-revamp since this isn't the focus of the update.
I wanna grab. Hello, maintenance. Oops. Don't tell me there's only one. Why do we only have one? Is this the one that takes us to up or down? Sublevel 5 to sublevel 6. Ow. Yeah, we're going down. And now we're on sublevel 6. Kinda convenient, ain't it? Excavators are...
And finally, this is Sublevel 6. And wow, I do have a lot to talk about. Something I kind of forgot to mention is that the coolant pumps and the coolant filters got a new structure. That's only a visual change, but for the material cave, it was also reworked.
Damn, the music is so good!
I wonder what's this opening all about though.
Why does the cave need to
And finally, the moment you have been waiting for, the airlock itself. The hazmat and showers have been shifted near the airlock, and the airlock itself, Oh boy, it's probably going to excite a lot of people since it's relocated near to the elevators where you can go to the reactor management area. However, I'll go through it later since there's something changed there. And that's the new architecture. This architecture might make traversing the facility easier since I have gotten rid of the excessive hallways and tried to make the layout straightforward. Also, I forgot to mention that there are moving walkways placed around the facility, which may make traversing more tolerable. With the new internal transit, you won't have to wait till you finally make a circle back to Station Alpha. You can simply take the train going back to Station Alpha from Station Beta, for example. Now, let's talk about the changes in pre-beta. I'm going to go over the minor changes about the game. For example, the NPCs can litter the facility, but most of the time, they'll find an empty trash can and throw away their trash. If there's no trash can to throw in because the trash can is full, they'll simply litter it on the floor. But be careful, the NPCs passing by will have a chance of leaving a bad review on your review site. However, here's something that's drastically changed from Alpha Part 2 and earlier. Take a look. Okay, now I'm near the airlock. I'm going to take 4 SPHR containers this time. Why? There's a note stating that the top structure is already filled. I know, people are complaining about this process of starting up the SPHR Mark II. Anyways, let's head into the chamber.
No signal. Does the door close this time? No? Okay, fine. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that's bad. That's bad. Skip. We all came for people. I need my money.
Well, the only thing I can do is just fill in the SPHR containers at the bottom.
You know, the better example is open all doors and then you put it in. Why is it orange? Why is it
That's
orange?
it. Step 1 is complete. Thankfully, it's only a shorter walk to the reactor management area. So I'm going to walk there and take the elevator instead so I end up being near the reactor management area.
That's cool. Now hurry up the door. This is gonna be pain. Why? I'm gonna go keep saying hi to Guidely until Don't Look 2 finally realizes that I'm going to plan on breaking it.
Step 2 is to depressurize the chamber, but be careful. If there's anyone inside without a hazmat suit, they will take damage till they die.
Ooh.
And finally, step 3, priming the startup. It's just a simple prompt trigger. Startup has been primed. Please prepare to exit the chamber immediately.
Music. It started.
Before I start the SPHR Mark II up, you may have watched the first pre-beta sneak peek where I showcased the new startup. I didn't want to go with the similar formula as the other core games, but I decided to have fun in creating the new startup. The startup had undergone some changes over the past Canary builds, but here's the final version of the startup.
There's 2!
Calibrating formation lasers Alpha and Beta. Done. Calibrating thermal systems. Done. Engaging formation lasers Alpha and Beta. Done. Now forming reactor safeguards. Done. Generating black hole solution.
Stop! No, that's realistic. Sorry, awkward pause.
Done. Initializing power lasers.
Announcements. That's stabilized.
Done. Sending reactor information through servers.
Hurry up!
Done. Stabilized Black Hole Reactor Mark II startup has been completed.
No.
All personnel, you're
Wait,
welcome to
Guidely,
continue
where did
normal
you come from?
operations.
Well, if it's your first time starting up the SPHR Mark II, Guidely will talk to you about it. You're free to respond to them however you want. Don't worry, they'll appear when it's your first time doing something. I'll get into more detail later. Also, a small change is that if you're a visitor and you approach a security NPC, the security NPC will escort you out of the sub-level, aside from sub-level 1 or the top site. This is what I meant when I said that you will have limited privileges as a visitor, since sub-level 2 and below are restricted sub-levels.
But
You
can't
can try to
just jump
explore the restricted sub-levels if you want, and if you succeeded in getting off the locations, you'll gain the badge Sneaky Explorer.
on- Yes.
Back in Alpha Part 2, it doesn't really make sense to me for the security NPCs to be doing nothing if they pass by a visitor, even though they shouldn't be here at all. Thankfully, you're able to choose your own occupation if this isn't your first time playing. Do note that the staff occupations won't be selectable if you're suspended. Next up is the events. The events are changed in one way or another from Alpha Part 1 till now, and there are also new events in this update as well. But we're going through the changes to the existing events first. First up is the earthquake. The earthquake now has falling rocks that appear at the beginning. It also creates rubble as well,
Popcorn.
similar to
Great
Alpha Part 2.
popcorn.
Not only that, if the earthquake is violent enough, it could even throw players around. This is only a small change though. Next up is the invasion. What's changed exactly? Take a look. Oop, that's different. In this update, there are 4 possible locations an invasion would happen. The top site, in which it has always been the invasion spawn since Alpha Part 2, the Material Cave, Sub-Level 5, or Sub-Level 6. There will be a notification letting you know where the invasion is going to take place. In Sub-Level 5 and 6, instead of them passing by and shooting, they will walk towards you and shoot you, so I'd recommend you to avoid the invaders' range while shooting. Don't worry, if there are any security NPCs around, they can help you with dealing with the invaders, even though it's not too much.
Fine by me.
Finally, I have defeated the invaders. Feel, the invasion is finally... Wait, what? A super invasion? This happens in a 1 in 5 chance, where there's another wave coming on. It's a stronger variant of the invasion, where there's enforcers, berserkers, and ninjas spawning.
How?
Not only that, there are effects that will throw every player off, and one of the effects will involve spawning more invaders. I have mentioned these 3 types of invaders in the first pre-beta sneak peek previously.
Get rid of them. God.
There we go. I have finally defeated the super invasion, and would you look at that?
Would you look at that? Paused again. Just hurry up. Just hurry up.
The reward is more substantial compared to a regular invasion. While the back anytime the generators might malfunction, prompting you to fix it. It plays similarly to the maintenance mechanic, but it's crucial for those who wanted to restore power to the facility. However, this won't happen if you're the only one
Sure.
server. Anyways, that's all of the changes to the existing events. And also, you're able to cover SPHR containers with chemicals while you're a researcher. Since I had moved the SPHR containers out of the maintenance several containers and then get to the chemistry lab. Depending on the chemical, it will either raise or lower the temperature. Some of them even give out cool effects to the SPHR Mark II as well. Also, one small thing before I conclude this segment is that while you're sprinting, it shows how much energy you have left. Sprinting depends on your energy, and you can't sprint anymore if your energy dips below 0.
Dirty.
And that's the changes made to the existing features in pre-beta. With small tweaks, as well as redoing the startup, I'm really proud of how it turned out in the end. But this is just a small taste of what's to come for pre-beta. Since this update's focus is sub-level 3 and sub-level 4, expect that there's not many changes to the existing features announced in Alpha Part 2 and earlier. Before we get to sub-level 3 and 4, here's a small feature that I also added to pre-beta.
What is it?
Seasons. This feature will be conspicuous if you were to head to the top side, where it can either snow or perhaps have leaves falling from the trees. If you click on the season icon, you can see the status of what's going on today, and there's also a voting feature as well. You can see how long till the next season as well, and finally, you can initiate a voting session, whether if you wanted to jump forward several hours, or change the day, or also change the season. Let's say that I wanted to change the season to winter. As I am the only one in the server, the season will automatically be switched to winter. However, if you're playing with more than one player, there will be a voting session, where every single one of the players except for you will receive a voting request, and they can either select yes or no. If the majority is yes, then the changes will be applied. Another small feature that I have added is a vote kick option. This feature allows you to initiate a vote kick for misbehaving players. Have any players that are being annoying or perhaps misbehaving in general? You can initiate a vote kick on the player, and it will bring out a voting session as well. The next feature that I want to show you has something to do with the ordering feature. Let's say that you have placed an order and you do not feel like heading to the loading area to collect it. Now, you don't have to. As long as the facility is open, you can assign a task to an employee NPC to go collect your order. However, this depends on the employee itself. Some of them are willing to help, some of them will help in exchange for cash, and some of them are too occupied with things to help. Depending on how many crates you have ordered, the employee will react to it. Now you won't have to head to the loading area, but you still have to wait for your order to arrive to the facility. Even if you do not have any orders, you can still interact with the employees, like for example, asking about what they are working on. There's also an interaction that employees can perform, job takeovers. In this interaction, you can fill in for a cashier at the ticketing counter or the internal cafe. If you get half of the orders correct, you'll gain a reward, as well as a reputation boost. However, get more than half of the orders incorrect and it will cause your reputation to drop. You can only do this every 2 real-life hours to prevent grinding. There's also a leaderboard located in the atrium, where you can compare your stats with others in the top 10. The leaderboard will update every time it changes, so be sure to keep that in mind. I know this doesn't always work in a Canary build because I basically gave everyone practically infinite cash back then. Sorry about that, guys. Lastly, there's a new UI for the guide, where you can either take the guide or simply have a chat with Guidely. Because of that, the name for the UI is Guidely. There's also a friendship meter as well. What is the purpose for it? Well, it's to find out in a future update. Also, there are 20 conversations topics that Guidely will talk about, and if the conversation ends with a high note, your friendship meter will increase. These were just minor additions to the update and aren't the focus of this update at all. No, the focus of the update is up next, and it's here to complete the collection of the sublevels. But first, let's recap all of the sublevels in the ICSS so far, since there will be 2 new sublevels in this update to complete the list of sublevels. Sublevel 1 is a visitor sublevel, where visitors can explore the facility, and they have a spectacular view of the caves and the SPHR Mark II. They can also visit the internal archives, where NPCs can take pictures there. Sublevel 2 is a labs and administration sublevel. This is where employees can take rest in living quarters, security members that can get their weapons or perhaps watch over the facility via the security officers, and where researchers can perform experiments in. It is also where players can view the status of the SPHR Mark II, but please do not stay in the reactor management area for too long unless you wanted this badge and Guidely to tell you off for not engaging in the non-reactor activities that this game offers. Sublevel 5 is the upper maintenance sublevel. It's pretty similar to sublevel 6, but with a difference: the electrical area. There are also 2 multi-floor areas such as the coolant pumps and coolant filters, and there's also fuse boxes around the sublevel. And finally, sublevel 6 is the lower maintenance sublevel. It still has fuse boxes and you can enter the material cave from it, and the biggest difference is that you can enter the SPHR Mark II chamber with it. But be sure to grab your hazmat suit if the SPHR Mark II is online, otherwise you will take damage until you have stepped out of the chamber. This leaves us with 2 missing sublevels, sublevel 3 and sublevel 4. But what are those sublevels? If you remember it from the Future of ICSS segment of the Alpha Part 2 stream, you'll know what to expect. And for those who don't know, here's a video about the last 2 sublevels.
Orange again. Orange. How many hours? 51. Jeez.
Sublevel 3, the database sublevel, and sublevel 4, the office sublevel, is coming to pre-beta to complete the collection of 6 sublevels that the game is planned to offer. As you might have guessed, judging by the type of sublevel, it means more opportunities for the employees and maintenance team. Back in Alpha Part 2, I do not feel like it's viable to continue developing on this layout, as well as this architecture. This takes us back to when pre-alpha was in development. I was using modular hallways at the time, and it was kind of a recipe for disaster if you're creating the chamber before creating the modular hallway. This causes misalignments, and it took me a while to realize that. But once pre-beta's development rolled around, I took this opportunity to wipe out everything, except for the SPHR Mark II chamber. It's sad to see the old layout and architecture gone, but I gotta admit, if you think that you can do better than when you have started, it's time for a massive change. And now, I'm excited to introduce 2 brand new sublevels coming to pre-beta that gives more tasks for players to do, as well as more areas to explore. Let's go through both of them. I'm going to give you a comprehensive tour about sublevel 3 and 4, so you know what you can do in them. Here we are, sublevel 3. As the name suggests, this sublevel revolves around servers, where the maintenance team is able to manage the servers there. These servers will break from time to time, but you'll see why you have to maintain them later. Anyways, let's get exploring. This is Server Farm 1. In this server farm, there's one huge array of server racks that the player can maintain. There's a ladders that players can use to climb upwards to the other servers.
Too dark. It's too dark.
Also, in this server farm, there's a control room in here. The controls here allows you to shut down failing servers, as well as perform an emergency shutdown. You'll see the purpose of it later in the stream. And this is Server Farm 2. Instead of server racks in this server farm, there are supercomputers. And of course, there's a control room in here as well, with the same controls as Server Farm 1. That's all there is to it, but what I can tell you is that a supercomputer failing will have a higher impact than a server rack failing, hence its lower supercomputer count compared to the server racks. And this is the ICSS servers. ICSS stands for Internal Corporation System Software. There are 12 supercomputers to start up, and there are controls here as well to start up the ICSS, along with the emergency shutdown button. You don't need to start up the ICSS in order to start up the SPHR Mark II, but it's crucial for something that you'll see later.
Said that before.
And finally, for sublevel 3, these are the miscellaneous servers. They do not really do anything in particular, but in future updates, they will play a major role, such as the SPHR Mark II Essentials. Anyways, that's all that sublevel 3 has to offer. It is the wider sublevel because of how often the hallways reach out to the caves. Let's head to sublevel 4 next.
It's full. That's correct.
This is sublevel 4. There are just 2 areas to go, and they're in 2 separate wings of the facility. Not to worry, there are moving walkways to assist you while traversing sublevel 4. This is also the sublevel where you're at the bottommost part of the cave, before going below the cave itself. Anyways, let's head into one of the areas. This is the employee offices. Like the security offices, this time it's only for the employees. Let's take a tour around this area, shall we?
Later.
This is the open office area. There are cubicles that the player can use in order to do office work. There are also printers here as well, and it's open for anyone to use, but can only be used via a computer that I'll get to later. This is the private offices, where players that are level 4 in the employee's occupation can claim ownership. There's a way to claim it without being in level 4 of the employee's occupation, and it is to be a private server owner in a private server. That's all for the employee's offices. Let's go ahead and head towards the last area of sublevel 4, which is the conferencing area. here we are, the conferencing area. It consists of 12 conferencing areas that the players can present in, as well as watch other players present. Nothing much to them at the moment until later in the stream. And that's sub-level 3 and sub-level 4, the final 2 sub-levels to join the collection of 6 sub-levels. At this point, the architecture is complete, and it's relieving to see how the game progressed over the years. Now, there's a clear picture about what ICSCS would look architecturally since all the sub-levels are finally here. And now, let's take a look at the new gameplay that sub-level 3 and sub-level 4 has. But first, we're going to take a look at what sub-level 3 has to offer. Remember that I shown you that the screens are like that when there's no signal? That's because there's something that you need to initiate in order to view the screens utilizing ICSS. That's where the Internal Corporation System Software servers comes into play. Upon reaching the ICSS servers, you will need to power on 12 supercomputers in the area, but be sure that they are powered on all the way. Otherwise, if you try to start up the ICSS while they aren't powered, or they aren't done powering up, the ICSS startup will fail. So you will need to ensure that the supercomputers are powered up first. Anyways, let's go ahead and turn on the supercomputers. Now that we have turned them on, let's go ahead and start the ICSS up. Also, there's another criteria for this, and that is you need at least 75% of the servers from server farm 1 and 2 combined to be active, otherwise the startup will fail as well. Thankfully, it's rare that this will happen unless you do an earthquake spam via the private server controls.
So many server ranks. Oh my god. How many supercomputers do we need?
There we go, the ICSS is now started up. Now, let's go ahead and head to the SPHR control room just to be sure. As you can see, now you can look at the status relating to the ICSS. However, there's another thing to keep in mind, and that is the ICSS latency. If the latency were to drop, that means you won't be receiving that much status changes. Usually 60 to 80 ms is the minimum latency, and if it goes above that, then there's something wrong with the service in the server farm. If the ICSS servers were to have an issue, you'll experience disruptions with the ICSS from time to time. You may be wondering, how are you going to repair the servers? In order to do so, there's another room that comes into play, which is the hardware storage, located near server farm 1. You can find an array of server parts. All of the server parts are compatible with the server racks and supercomputers, except for 2. For instance, the server racks cases are only compatible with the server racks, while the supercomputer cases are only compatible with supercomputers. Okay, I'm now at server farm 1, and there's a broken server rack here. You can identify it when a server rack's cooling fan spins really quickly, generating loud noises, and also if the server rack status light is red. If that happens, you need to shut off the server rack to perform a maintenance on it. If there's multiple server racks failing, you can use the shutdown failing service button in order to shut down all failing servers at once. However, there will be a 30-second cooldown to prevent abuse. Anyways, let's perform maintenance by triggering this prompt. And you're done. The reason why the maintenance mechanic is like this is because there is a lot of servers to repair, in which if I were to make it so you need to press keys to fix them, it would take a very long time to fix multiple servers if there's so many of them broken. This also applies to the supercomputer as well, except that the supercomputers have a longer longevity, so they would break less often. The ICSS servers have the highest longevity out of the 3 types of servers though, so the ICSS failing will be rare. About the miscellaneous servers, I'll get to it after a while, since there's not much of a use when there's nothing going on in the facility. And now, let's take a look at what you can do in Sublevel 4. There's 2 areas that you can go to, the employee's office and the conferencing area. Judging by this sublevel is best played while you're in the employee occupation. If you do not wish to help others while you're an employee, you're free to do office tasks instead. Now, let's go ahead and head into the employee's office. But wait, I almost forgot. Since the employee's office is filled with computers, I also had to update something. Yep, you guessed it, it's Columns OS. This time, Columns OS has been updated from 1.1.0 to 1.2.0. It also includes new features in there that I spent so long working on. Since I'm already in the employee's office, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Here we are, Columns OS version 1.2.0. It still looks the same, but there's new features to it. For example, if I go into the browser, there's a new site called GeekyWare. This is where you can purchase spare parts for the servers. You can even craft them if you're in the maintenance occupation, and you have to be at least level 3 in the maintenance occupation in order to enter the hardware crafting territory. This still functions similarly to All Things Shop and Atom Direct, so it's kind of pointless to show it to you guys in more detail. The next update is in the file viewer. Let's go ahead and create a new text file, and if you select the text file, you can see a new option you can select, and that is you can print your document. Let's go ahead and type something into the text file and then save it, because I didn't want to print a blank document. Oop, I hear printing noises. Let's go ahead and collect the document.
Jumping into the computers. How lovely.
There it is, the document itself. What can you do with it? Well, you can either keep it for yourself or give it to another employee. If you were to give it to another employee, you'll get a cash reward for it. But be sure to at least have something written in the document before giving it to an employee. Anyways, back to Columns OS. There's a new app coming to play this time, and that is Slide Maker. In here, you can create your own presentation. In the starting page of Slide Maker, you can choose your own slide name, your own background music, your own slide theme, as well as your own slide background.
Fish crackers.
Once you have done that, you can actually customize your slide to your liking. You have 3 items to add to your slides: text, image, and frame. I'm going to create my intro slide, then I'll speed up the process after that. Attention visitors, you are required to wear a face mask at all times, especially when exploring the facility. Let's break the COVID-19
Oop,
chain.
there's something that I forgot to mention, is that you can also select your own transition. There are 4 transitions to choose from, and if you click one of them, it shows you the preview before you decide to use it. You can also set your own transition sound. Anyways, I'm going to speed this footage up since creating your own presentation could be time consuming. And voila! Your presentation is ready. I recommend creating a slide while using a screen resolution of 1920 by 1080 on your computer in real life, since anything below or above, the presentation may not match what you're going for. Anyways, now that your presentation is done, where can you present it? Well, there's another area for you to do just that. Let's head to the conferencing room. And here you are, the conferencing room. Now you can walk to the presenting area where you'll stand during your presentation. Upon triggering this prompt, you'll be given a list of your presentations that you have created. In here, I can see the presentation that I have created. Let's select it. As you can see right here, that's the presentation I have created. You'll have a 5-second delay before you can switch to another slide. You can go to the next slide or the previous slide if you're not at the beginning slide. Anyways, let's go ahead and finish this, shall we? You can look at the slides while I make my way to the end.
You are required to wear a face mask at all times, especially when exploring the facility. Let's break the COVID-19 chain together.
And that's how you deliver a presentation. Now, if you think that there's no point to this, there are also new tasks for the employee occupation as well, relating to the offices. This also goes for the maintenance occupation as well. Anyways, that's all of the new gameplay additions that I have done. To conclude the additions, the employee's occupations involve helping others, emptying trash cans, and now, office work such as creating presentations and documents. For the maintenance occupation, you can maintain the infrastructure of the facility, such as the fuse boxes, electrical boxes, servers, and much more. Also, if you're getting bored of a certain occupation, you're free to switch to another occupation for the time being. Anyways, that's all of the new features for Sub-Level 3 and Sub-Level 4. Wow, that's a mouthful. The gameplay additions was focused on the employee and maintenance occupation, and there were slight changes to the security occupation as well, since there wasn't much for them to do after a while. But now, with the introduction of Sub-Level 3 and Sub-Level 4, these occupations will now have more things to do. This also completes the portfolio of activities that every single one of the occupations can do. However, I didn't update much with the security and researchers due to the former having the task of protecting the facility and that's it, and the latter for already being jam-packed with things you can do. And for those who main the visitors occupation, as well as those who plan to find all the areas, it may be harder now since the security NPCs will now escort you out of the restricted sublevels. Anyways, with the occupations out of the way, how about the events? I did mention the changes with the existing events previously, but now, let's take a look at the events that are added in pre-beta. There will be 2 events related to Sub-Level 3, and 1 event related to the SPHR Mark II itself. And no, it isn't the Meltdown. You'll see later. Okay, I'm at the ICSS servers, and oh, what's that?
Attention visitors, you are required to wear a face mask at all times, especially when Attention facility personnel, there is a hack in our systems. Quickly perform an emergency shutdown to all servers to prevent data loss. And to visitors, do expect screen effects time. Uh-oh, seems like there's a hacker in our systems. This event is called Server Intrusion. In this event, you'll have to perform an emergency shutdown of all 3 of the server farms, which includes the ICSS servers. Let's quickly do that. But wait, it needs a code? Where can you find them? Well, in order to perform an emergency shutdown, you need to get the code first. The codes can be found in the miscellaneous servers, which is at the other side of the facility itself. You can find the code there yourself, or you can have someone or a friend read out the code for you. Wait, that's such a short code. Well, nope. The code is split into 4 parts, and you'll have to combine the 4 parts together to create a code. For example, if A is 5, B is 2, C is 6, and D is 9, then the code will be 5269. However, the codes will be different in every event, which is something to keep in mind. You can have a friend or someone read it out for you, or you can go there yourself and find them. But keep in mind that there's an instruction at the bottom of the notes containing the code about what you should do with them. And do not assume that the code on the sticky note is the actual code that you need to shut them down. Anyways, let's go ahead and perform an emergency shutdown. Phew, that was rough. But more importantly, the server farms are successfully shut down, and now they're booting back up. But you have to restart the internal corporation system software though. But hey, it's better than letting the timer expire during the server intrusion. Otherwise, you would have to restore the ICSS from backup, which takes a horrendous amount of time to complete. Anyways, that's the server intrusion event. It's a fast-paced event that challenges how fast the players can react and collaborate. The timer won't depend on how many players are in the server, but it will always be around 300 seconds. The next event also relates to Sublevel 3, except that there's no consequences after letting the time expire. Here it is. Roses are red, violets are blue. I've forgotten what comes after that. Attention's down. Our stuff frequency has been increased. This event is called Total Server Failure. It starts off the same way as the server intrusion event, but it's more notable by its drastic latency increasing the ICSS. From here, you can tell that it's a total server failure. In this scenario, maintenance workers will have to try to fix as many servers as possible, since fixing the servers during this time is much more rewarding during this event. This depends on how many servers the maintenance team fixes. So if you're a maintenance worker, you can use this opportunity to fix as many servers as possible. Anyways, that's all for the total server event. Let's head into the final event in this update. And now, the final event, Reactor Surge. What is this event exactly? Right now, I'm at the reactor management area and the power output is at a high amount, which means the facility went into a blackout. That's because this is the event in action. Everything will go out, and you can't use a computer, for example. That's because the SPHR Mark II was forced to cut its links to the facility, which caused the facility to black out for safety measures while the power output gets back to normal. But at the same time, it also cools down the SPHR Mark II. Is back online. Let's take a look at the status of the SPHR Mark II now. I'll have to start the ICSS once again because the reactor surge caused the ICSS to shut down. As you can see, the SPHR Mark II is back to its normal temperature and output. However, if you're planning on melting the SPHR Mark II down, you will have to do more than simply leaving the power levels at 6. I plan for the meltdown to be hard to get in the future since I have seen a lot of core games where you simply leave the settings at a max level and then walk away or stare at a reactor status. However, if you're planning on completing more tasks from time to time, I'd recommend simply playing the game while the reactor is turned off because my vision for ICSS is for it to be played without the need of starting up the SPHR Mark II. And that's all of the events coming to pre-beta. 3 new events, while there are changes to the existing ones from Alpha Part 2 and before. I can't wait for you to experience them once pre-beta releases. However, that's not all of the things that I wanted to show you in the stream just yet. There's still one more area left to tackle, and that is the auditorium, also known as the internal pavilion. So I was thinking, what if there's something going on from time to time in the auditorium? And that's what I did. There are 2 concerts to experience, and 4 motivational seminars in which the topic varies depending on the season. These auditorium events depend on the season as well. For instance, there will be a concert on every Monday while the season is spring. A performance will only happen on spring and autumn, while motivational seminars will happen on every Thursday in any season. Anyways, let's see how does it feel to actually experience a concert. Right now, it's Monday, and it's autumn as well, which means that we are going to have a piano concert. As you can see, NPCs are now spawning in the auditorium, which signifies that the concert is going to begin soon.
This is nice music. Now it's
Wow, what a performance! Also, if there's a performance or a motivational seminar going on, there won't be any server-wide events, such as earthquakes and server intrusions happening in order to not disrupt the auditorium event. Anyways, what about the motivational seminar? It's now summer, and it's Thursday. A difference with this is that it begins at 2 separate times. Every performance will start at 6 p.m., while every motivational seminar will start at 12 p.m. Anyways, the event is going to start soon, so let's take a seat.
chasing your dreams. Oh, I found my mouse.
Now that the motivational seminar is done, you can get back to doing your work, whether if you're a visitor or perhaps any staff occupation. I wanted to tell you that there's much more you can do with the auditorium, but we'll get back to it in a while. That's a lot of features that I had announced so far in the stream. I have worked so hard, like even on a daily basis, on these features for you to enjoy. But we're not done just yet. There's still a few features that I wanted to talk about. Let's first take a look at the utilities. AlphaPod 2 had introduced 8 new utilities for you to buy and use, with only one occupation exclusive utility, called Handy2 AIO, that is for maintenance workers only. But now, in pre-beta, there will be 3 more occupation exclusive utilities, with 1 more universal utility, which means that you can use it no matter which occupation you are in now. This brings the total utility count to 12 from the 8 that I introduced back in AlphaPod 2. Let's take a look at the 4 new utilities added into ICSCS. The first utility is a healing coil, and it's available for all of the occupations. Like the name suggests, this heals your character if you take damage, whether if it's from going into the SPHR Mark II while it started up and you're not wearing a hazmat suit, or when facing against an invasion and you got shot by an invader. This coil will heal you as long as you have it equipped. Now, let's get into the utilities that require you to be in a specific occupation to use. The second utility is the Employee's Profiler, and with a click, you can see all of the tasks available around the facility. Let's say that you're looking for a task to do around the facility but you can't find any. Worry not. With a click of a button, it highlights the available tasks you can do coming from an NPC. It also highlights employee NPCs around the facility, so if you have a document, you can find an employee NPC to give your document to. You can only have this utility in your inventory if you're, you guessed it, an employee. The third utility introduced in this update is the Threat Detector, and that is exclusive for security members. This locates any suspicious activities, such as visitors that had their items stolen, as well as vandalisms. It also locates invaders as well, if there's any invasion going on, in order to easily locate them. And now, the last utility, the Chemical Bucket. The Chemical Bucket provides you with unlimited chemical with whatever chemical you choose. You can still empty the chemical bucket with a sink and get another one, since you can only have one chemical at a time with a chemical bucket. You can use it to mask cover items with it, but you sadly can't analyze it with a microscope or drink from it. And yep, this is only for researchers to use, but it's a lifesaver for those who are planning to make a lot of the same chemicals. Anyways, that's all of the utilities that is coming to the update. This brings the utility count to 12 and could be helpful during your time in a staff occupation in the long run. And finally, I'm going to introduce something that may give players the incentive to actually progress through their occupation levels, and that is the level 5 benefits. There are 4 benefits to get once you have reached level 5 in an occupation level. If you reach level 5 in the employee occupation, oh boy, you're in for a treat. Since you have been highly trusted to get here, you can actually host a custom event in the auditorium. If you're not level 5 and you're a private server owner in a private server, you can host a custom event as well, but you won't get as many players than with a public server. This is probably the most effort I have put into a benefit. Let's go ahead and host an event. I'm going to host a trivia show, and I'm going to give them 3 questions to ask to the audience. I'm going to also leave the NPC spawning option on. You can leave it off, even though no one will answer your questions unless you have players in the same server as yours. Once you have started a custom event, you're given several minutes to customize the venue itself. You can set the background music, the colors of the wall, stage and floor, as well as the branding itself. However, in private servers, while there's no event going on, you're free to customize the seating or the TV as well. Anyways, I'm going to customize the venue. Now that my customization is done, there will be a countdown, provided if your custom event includes a display. Let's go ahead and wait for the event. And yep, there are NPCs in the venue as well, which means that if you're hosting a trivia show, the NPCs will also answer the questions that you provided. Anyways, the event is starting, so let's get to it. I won't be able to answer since I'm the event host.
Don't mind about this. This is fine. I forgot to mention.
The event is finally over. However, in the talk show or keynote events, you can get creative with it. I'm going to give you an example of doing a keynote while utilizing the sound effect feature. Hello, and it has been my pleasure to actually reveal a big secret. A secret that I'm really proud to share with you. Because, well, yeah, everyone is dying to know about it, right? So, thank you. And I'm finally glad to reveal why is 6 afraid of 7? Well, you guys want to know why? Well, the answer is... Can you guys stop clapping? Okay, here we have the grand answer for why 6 is afraid of 7. And that is... It's because 7. Would you stop? What the? Would you? Oh my God! You guys are just laughing and yeah, because I can't even continue this. I can't even continue the keynote like this because the audience keeps laughing at me. Don't Look 2, can you help? Don't Look 2 isn't even here, right? And they continue to laugh at me for some reason. Anyways, guys, that's not what I. Guys. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time, I guess. That was funny. You can actually put in a sound effect of the audience laughing after you made a joke, but I recommend using the voice chat feature either on Roblox or Discord if you're playing with friends or you're in a public VC. That's what you can do if you're level 5 in the employee's occupation, or if you're the owner of a private server. Do note that the custom events won't impact your current standing in the game, and it's only for fun. Wow, I think I had been talking way too much, so let's go ahead and head into the next benefit. Once you have reached level 5 in the maintenance occupation, you'll get a drink that you can use unlimited times. This boosts your energy up to 100%, and it also allows you to complete maintenance tasks and also clear rubble faster. This effect will last for 2 minutes, so use it to your... Actually, no. Feel free to use this every time the effect wears.
Oh no. No, that's bad. Holy,
Wears
wait.
off, so you can actually do quicker. The third level 5 benefit is the blitz. It's when you reach level 5 in the security occupation. Since from here on out, the invasions will get harder, since there will be twice the amount of invaders if you're present in the server. To aid with this, there's a new gun that... This is a lifesaver if you are dealing with a lot more invaders, and you can even help other security members with the obliteration gun. Since the gun is overpowered, there will only be 1 ammo per magazine to remedy this. Even then, you still need to be careful around the invaders, since you're still not invulnerable to their attacks if you're holding the obliteration gun. And finally, the last level 5 benefit is the chemical selector, or as the game calls it, the epic chemical selector. This allows you to dispense an unlimited amount of chemicals to your sample dish, test tube, or chemical bucket. However, you can only fill them with chemicals that you have unlocked, in which it makes it better that you can actually fill in tier 3 chemicals like Nebulux, Radiantum, and Chromite, which are the chemicals that you can't order from Atom Direct. And that's all of the level 5 benefits for the occupations. Now you know what you're working for if you're embarking on a journey to get to level 5 in an occupation you targeted. Welp, that's a mouthful. That's all of the features coming to pre-beta. There's some minor features that I did not get into, such as the season's integration with the time controls, the sound controls, as well as the saving UI. Anyways, let's recap what I have shown you today. The new architecture and layout, the new introduction for first time players, the new startup, some changes to the existing events, employee interactions, sub-level 3 and 4, the internal corporation system software, more ways to play as an employee and maintenance worker, an update to Columns OS, new events, the auditorium and its functionality, new utilities, and the level 5 benefits. These features that you have seen aren't done and may be tweaked from time to time. Not only that, pre-beta will include 20 new badges and 18 OSTs that are either new or redone, and they're for you to obtain or listen to in the next update. Also, since the architecture and layout has been changed, Alpha Part 2 will be re-uploaded as a separate game and will be named ICSCS Legacy and will be coming soon after pre-beta has been launched. Now you're saying, when can you play the update? I can confidently say that the update will be coming out on March 2nd, 2024.
Oh, come on.
Anyways, I have whipped up a trailer for the update, showcasing the features that comes with it. Take a look. And finally, before I end the stream, I want to talk about the future of ICSCS. After almost 3 years of development, ICSCS is finally heading to its beta stage. It has been a wild ride, from what we have seen back in pre-alpha with it releasing as a desolate and a very incomplete game to what we have now, a booming and interactive game. Someone had mentioned that the game was a big work in progress like several months ago, but believe it or not, the game is almost done with its development. But there's just one more thing to add into the game to top it all off. However, I can't put it into this update since it's a big one. You're free to take a wild guess on what is it. With many things to do around the facility, so much so that after you have came back for a second playthrough, you still have several features left to explore. Now, I know what you're thinking. What will happen in the beta update? To answer that, I have made this teaser trailer about the beta update. Take a look. That's right, the beta update will be called the Devastation Update. As you may have guessed, this update will include the long-awaited Meltdown. However, I can't start the development of the beta update till April of this year due to college and other factors. But what I can say about this update is that the Meltdown won't be called Meltdown in the update, and I intended for the Meltdown to be hard to get compared to other core games. It will be more than just leaving the power lasers at max power, and it should be rewarding if you manage to pull it off. Don't worry, I'll try my best to make the Meltdown worth getting. Do note that the only thing that is going to be added in this update is the Meltdown, as well as some minor things, and you won't be able to trigger the warnings in the final release of pre-beta. And for the beta stream, do expect the stream to be shorter than the stream and the other 2 streams before it. Also, something I'm going to do in this update is that I'm going to reduce the size of the suggestions, like how big should your suggestion be. This is because due to the state of the game right now, I didn't want to include features that are way too big, but rather the suggestions will only be limited to minor features or changes. However, the bug report will stay the same. If there's a game-breaking bug, then a fix will happen immediately to the main game. Thank you for joining me in this stream, and it has been a blast to create. From the introduction of the new layout and architecture for this update, as well as the new features that I had shown off, I'm relieved that the game is almost done. Tons of time spent developing this update, as well as a lot of bug fixes had been made along the way. Anyways, there'll be a Q&A held after the stream as well, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the live chat or the comments if it's a replay. Anyways, this is Donut2 signing off.
That's cool. Well, since the chat is broken, I need to refresh it. If it can happen.
Well,
Ah,
that is it.
uh-oh. God dang it. Refresh again for like the first time, I guess. I don't know. 1 minute and 52 seconds. I mean, minutes, I guess. Okay, YouTube, trying to be like that. What? Oh, come on. Ah, flip. Well, I guess I'll do this next stream, not next recording. See ya.